So I'm here with...
White boy.
Nice to meet you, white boy.
Sure, for sure.
How old are you?
23.
Whereabouts are you... Like, did you grow up?
I grew up like in Scarborough, the east end of Scarborough. You know, I branched out all over the place over time and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? But I lived majority of my life in lower income neighborhoods for real, you know, so that's just the way it goes, right?
How was your childhood growing up in Scarborough?
It was crazy, you know, very eventful and taught me a lot of shit, you know. It's one of those things where the experiences that I was taught growing up, if I didn't have those experiences, I probably wouldn't be alive today, you know. So I'm grateful for it at the same time, but at the same time it's crazy, you know. It's a little bit traumatizing, but it is what it is, right?
What type of stuff did you get into?
Everything, bro, you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where when you grow up in that sort of lifestyle, right, like when you grow up in those sorts of areas, you see everything, you know what I'm saying? It comes with everything that you can possibly imagine. You know, I'm just gonna keep it real brief because, you know, but like, you know, you have everything that low-income neighborhoods have, and you know, growing up, you know, really just having to like struggle to survive, right? Like, you know, just from a young kid, just having to like, you know, stealing shit to survive, stealing to eat, you know, like just like, you know, just to survive, bro. Like, you know, starving on the streets. I've been on the streets since I was 13 years old, right? So with that being said, like being such at a young age, right, it's hard to you know, make money legally, right? So, you know, you find yourself getting into legal activities and whatnot, and you know, as time progresses or whatever, you get to change your life for the good or for the bad. And I've definitely had my ups and downs in life, you know. Things straightened out for a long time, and then eventually they fell down, right? So right now I'm at the recovery process of building things back up again.
So how was it at 13 becoming homeless and not having a home?
Unfortunately, my mom had passed away, right? So, you know, me and my father, we never really had a real relationship like that where it was a homely relationship. So, like, I was kind of expecting it, cause I knew, like, eventually sooner or later she was going to pass away because she was sick, dying of cancer and whatnot. So it was one of those things where I had to mentally prepare myself for about 2 or 3 years before it actually had happened, right? And once it happened, I was kind of mentally ready for it. But it was one of those things, once I actually got onto the streets, even though I thought I was mentally prepared for it, and like there was a whole different, lot of shit that comes with it, if you know what I'm trying to say, like, you know. And you know, just sleeping in shelters and doing all sorts of things like that, it becomes something where it's the usual, you know. And yeah, man, like it's a crazy lifestyle, but at the end of the day, it teaches you what the bottom is. And once you learn what the bottom is, it's either you want to change your life or you want to stay there for the rest of your life, right? And at this present moment right now in my life, I wouldn't say I'm doing good, but I'm trying to get back to that point where like, you know, I need to get back to the uprising, you know what I'm saying? Get back to getting an apartment and all that right now, because unfortunately right now I'm living on the street. You know, I've lived in a whole lot of towns. Like I said, I grew up in the east end of Scarborough, and then, you know, I spent a few years, you know, doing illegal activities in Aurelia, in Barrie. Spent 2 years in jail, and I just recently came to Oshawa, actually, well, like 45 or 50 days ago, when I was released from jail. I did 22 months. You know, I was charged with something I was actually innocent of, and you know, when the court case was all said and done and we went through the trial, I was actually pled innocent to the case, right? Which was obviously a blessing from God, because I'd still be in jail if that wasn't the case. I was actually charged with attempted murder. So with that being said, you know, but they had to hold me, because if they didn't, they don't know who did what, right? So there was 4 of us involved in it, and they had to hold us or whatever, right? That was the case. So, you know, I just thank God every day that, you know, I'm not in that situation anymore, and they actually figured out what happened, you know. Cause I didn't want to say nothing, So it was up to them, you know what I'm saying? So I sat for 22 months until they figured the shit out, and then they finally came to me one day. They came to my cell and said, "You got your plea court today," and boom, you know, I was let out free, as a free man. So you know, it's you know, it definitely was a life changer right there for sure. You know what I'm saying?
How was it being in jail for 22 months?
Oh, bro, it was crazy. You know what I'm saying? You've seen everything. I've been in Toronto South. I've been to Central North Correctional Center, and I've been to Central East Correctional Center. Out of all three of the jails, Central East Correctional Center has to be the dirtiest shithole there is, bro, for sure. It was disgusting. Penitang was like a kingdom compared to the rest of them, for real, bro. Like, you know, it's just, you wouldn't expect that like some jails would be more better than others because it's jail. But I mean, like, I can say, bro, like, you know, like, that was the best jail out of all of them for sure. And like, just being in jail, like, there's certain things that you learn and there's certain ways you have to move that you, like a regular civilian, wouldn't know. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, like, there was also that experience that taught me different things than what I learned on the street, right? So I mean, like, it's crazy, you know, you always have to watch your back and stuff like that, and everything like that. And the area that I'm from, it's more a gang affiliated area, right? So I mean, automatically they had to label me with that affiliation, right? Unfortunately. So you know, like, there was different politics and whatnot that you have to go through in jail, obviously, same way that it is on the street when you're in there, right? So you know, it comes with a whole lot of different sorts of drama and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it's one of those things where, you know, you learn to survive and you learn to make it out, you know, and that's what I had to do, right? You know, it became one of those things where it became irregular, and it became a place where it was almost comfortable. Like, before I was about to get out, I was like, bro, I don't even want to get out. Like, this is home for me, bro. Like, I'm so used to this. What's the outside world like now? You know, because I went in during the end of COVID there. So when I got out, I didn't know what the world was going to be like. You know what I'm saying? So it was just, it was crazy when I touched road and everything was so different. No more masks. You know what I'm saying? No more social distancing and none of that shit. I was like, yo, this is crazy, bro. Like, you know? Because like I said, I went in during all the COVID and all that. So it was definitely a big life-changing experience, like going from a pandemic to back to regular lifestyle where I was used to living years and years ago, right? Because it went on for so long, right? For sure.
How was it before the pandemic compared to when you came out?
Before the pandemic, honestly, life was great. You know, I was 17 years old, living in a $2,100 condo. I had cars, I had all the clothes, designer clothes you can imagine. You know, I had everything in life that somebody could want at 17 years old. Full-time jobs, plus I was still going to high school. Like, I was homeless my whole entire high school and I still graduated. I still made it through, bro, you know what I'm saying? And I continue to just tell myself every time, like, you know, I wake up in the morning and I be late for school or whatever, I need to get my ass there, because education is one of the #1 things that you need to have in life to get anywhere, you know what I'm saying? So it was one of those things where, you know, you just had to, like, I had to keep thriving and telling myself this is where I need to be. You know, even though I didn't want to be there, I pushed myself to continue to be there, you know what I'm saying? Because that's where I had to be, and that's all it was. You know, so.
Out of all the places you've been, where did you enjoy the most? Like, all the cities?
Scarborough for sure, you know what I'm saying? Every place that I've been to, like, Scarborough's bad, don't get me wrong, but like, all these other places and stuff like that, they're heavily drug infested. Heavily drug infested. So if you're anywhere near this lifestyle, such as being homeless and whatnot, you kind of drag yourself into it, right? And it just takes that one time of, you know, I'll be honest with you, like, you know, I don't know if it's PG-13 or not, but, you know, once you pick up that foil or whatever, you know, you tend to, it's hard to get out of it. You know, it's very hard to get out of it. So unfortunately for me, as of right now, I'll be honest with you, I'm addicted to fentanyl, you know. Not a lot of people actually know that, because, you know, like, just the way I carry myself and shit like that. But yeah, man, like, you know, it's just it's a crazy lifestyle, and it comes with all this, you know. So, but we kind of use that to block out all the other bullshit that's going on around us, right? To forget and to, you know, kind of ease our minds, right? You know, but right now I'm trying to get back onto the straight path, you know. I'm trying to get back onto the regular route where I should be, and that's what matters the most. A lot of people out here, they don't have that mindset. They just wake up every morning, they don't think about that. See me, I think a little bit differently. Every time when I do pick up that foil and shit now, bro, I think to myself, like, is this really where I want to be? But it comes with a sickness. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but it comes with a sickness where, if you don't have that after a certain amount of hours, you're sick, like very, very ill. So unless you go on the sorts of programs that the pharmacist provides you, unfortunately, you're sick all the time, right? And they help, but it's almost like they're just giving you one drug to replace another one, right? So it's one of those things where it's a crazy life cycle, but if you can get through it and you can, if you can do your thing, and like, all the advice I can give is, bro, just try and stay away from that shit forever, bro. Don't ever try and touch that shit, because once you do, you'll get that feeling, and then one day you'll eventually find yourself back there, even if, you think that you won't, you will. That's how I was, bro. I went from taking, Percocet every single day. A lot of my homies and shit like that from the city, they take perks, and that's how I got into it, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of young dudes, they do that shit, they think, whatever, it's no big deal. But then once you realize that sickness is really there, it's like, goddamn, like, this is really real, and, it is what it is, right? So, man,
do you remember at which age you first?
I was like 19 when I first started, like, I didn't start smoking weed till I was 19. And like, weed kind of led to like other shit, like weed led to like, like selling drugs and shit like that, and then sitting in like different houses and selling drugs, and being around people that are always high. What are you gonna want to do? You're gonna want to get high, right? So, I tended to turn to the Percocet and whatnot, and other painkiller pills, and it was just destroying my body. So, I was spending so much money, it was like fentanyl is actually a cheaper alternative. For real, like I was taking upwards of 70 painkillers a day. So my stomach was just, I couldn't eat anything, right? And when it came to that, it was just like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. This is not something that, I want to be doing. So, even though it wasn't the best alternative, it was an alternative, honestly, that saved my life. In the past, since August of last, so I guess a year, around this time is when I started using fentanyl. I've died 20 times. I've overdosed 20 times. And it sounds crazy, but I mean, like, with that lifestyle, bro, it's like as soon as you come back to life, you're chasing it again. And so it's crazy life cycle, like I said, man. It's just a repetitive thing over and over again, man, you know what I'm saying? And anybody who has lived this street life, or who is going to live this street life, the only advice I can give them, bro, is just try and steer straight, because this shit is, this ain't a game, this is really real, like I have cops that harass me every single day, for real, bro. Like I just moved to this town, and every single day I got stopped by cops, every single day, asking me, searching me, doing whatever. So, man, like, it's a crazy life, and at the end of the day, the alternative is just turn yourself away from it. Find positive things to do with your time, and hopefully, that'll make a difference.
What are some of the craziest things you've witnessed being homeless?
I've seen people die right in front of me, right in my arms. You know what I'm saying? From using this fentanyl shit. A lot of my friends that I've had over the years, they're all dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm only 22 years old, all my friends are dead. And like, it's crazy, and it's as crazy as it sounds, it's true, man. Like, like, I've watched some of my best friends die in my arms, and it's one of those things where it just comes with this, and unfortunately enough, like, as hard as it is to accept it, it's one of those things that it's either you accept it or you don't. It is the way it is, right? And that's just the way it goes, bro.
And what do you think can be done to help the homeless community? To help the homeless community, honestly, it plays on both parts.
It plays on the government parts too. You know, like the rent's super expensive, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like OW, the Ontario Welfare, and ODSP needs to be pushing people more with their funds to getting apartments. If they're not getting apartments, bro, they shouldn't be giving them the money because it's going straight towards drugs. You know, I know that myself because there has been times where I've used my full entire check on drugs. You know, I ain't gonna sit here and lie to you. And 95% of people you see walking around here, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? There's that 5 or 3% of people who actually try and change their lives. You know, it's a hard thing, but it can be done. You know, like I did 21 days clean after I got out of jail. I got out of jail, I went on a 7-day bender of just smoking fentanyl every single day, and I was clean for 21 days, right, while being on the street. So I proved to myself that, you know, like it can be done. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like I said to you, like, you know, I am trying to change, and I try and feed myself with that information every day, but it's one of those things where it just has to be done. It can't be talked about, it has to be done. You know what I'm saying? So with the whole homeless situation, how to change it, it plays on both parts. You know what I'm saying? And a drug addiction is more than just getting high. It's the mental, it's the physical, it has everything, the emotional. It ruins relationships, it ruins everything. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where, you know, people just gotta change their life. You know, like it's either you change your life now or you're gonna live a lifestyle. And you see people out here 50, 60 years old, they ain't got no teeth left in their mouth, not a dollar in their pocket, and they're chasing that next fucking hit of fentanyl because they're sick. You know, and it's sad to see, but at the end of the day, this is all the lifestyle that we chose. Nobody put the pipe in our mouth. Nobody put the fentanyl in our mouth, you know what I'm saying? So it's one of those crazy things where, you know, it has to be done on both halves. You know, it's not just the government that can help. We have to do something too as well, you know, as a community. You know.
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Most definitely.